Brazil is not just a territory, it is a universe in itself, a country that beats to the rhythm of diversity, where the grandeur of nature intertwines with the soul of its people. Creating a symphony that resonates far beyond its borders. Here, green is not a color, but a breath that spreads through endless forests. Water is not just a resource, but a sacred force that shapes rivers, seas, and waterfalls. The land is not simple soil, but a stage for cultures that have flourished for millennia. Traveling through Brazil is like walking through a book of living pages, where each biome is a chapter with its own voice. It is to feel the red dust of the Cerrado rise like ancestral memory, to let the eyes glide over dunes that shift at the breath of the wind, to dive into seas that shine like crystals under the sun. But it is also to walk through vibrant cities, where concrete mingles with dreams and the past is reinvented in the present. This script is an invitation to cross 10 of Brazil's greatest wonders. Places where geography transcends the condition of landscape and becomes experience. It is not only about observing, it is about being transformed. For in the presence of Brazil, the traveler is not a spectator, but part of a greater choreography, written by nature itself. Amazon. There are places on the planet that cannot be measured by numbers or maps. The Amazon is one of these mysteries. To let your gaze wander over its vastness is to behold a green ocean spilling out as far as the eye can see. There, centuries-old trees rise like the columns of a natural cathedral, supporting a canopy of leaves that filters the light into golden, emerald, and shadowy tones that dance in silence. The Amazon River, the backbone of this forest, flows with a majesty that knows no rival. At every bend, a new world is revealed. At every moment, the Amazon proves itself to be a multiplicity. It is home to millions of species, many still unknown to science. Butterflies with wings like mosaics. Frogs that sing like tiny bells. Fish that shimmer beneath the dark surface like hidden gems. The song of birds is not just sound, but a language, each call a verse in a collective poem that never ends. And among this abundance, the jaguar, the silent lord of the forest, leaves almost invisible tracks, reminding us that life here is not a spectacle staged for human eyes, but the authentic flow of existence. The indigenous peoples are the guardians of this sacred territory. Their traditions, passed down through generations, do not merely describe the forest. They decipher it. For them, every tree has a spirit. Every river holds memory. Every star is connected to the destiny of the earth. To share daily life with these communities is to understand that the Amazon is not only a biome, but a living heritage of humanity. To navigate the waters of the Rio Negro or the Solimões is to travel through corridors that seem infinite. The reflection of the trees on the surface creates the illusion of two parallel worlds, that of the land and that of the water. At dusk, the atmosphere turns orange, transforming the forest into an impressionist painting. The pink river dolphins suddenly surface, breaking the line between the visible and the mythical, as if they were guardians reminding the traveler of the presence of the unseen. But perhaps the Amazon's greatest power lies in its profound silence. Not the silence of absence, but that which precedes life. The pause between wing beats, the stillness before the distant roar of a storm. It is a silence that seeps into the chest, reminding us that, before such immensity, we are fleeting passengers. To be in the Amazon is to be seized by a rare feeling, belonging to something greater than ourselves. It is to understand that this forest is not scenery, it is essence. Its breath shapes climates, its waters traverse continents, its balance sustains futures. The Amazon is not only Brazilian, it is planetary, and those who behold it return transformed, as if crossing a portal and coming back, carrying the memory of a primordial world. Iguaçu Falls. In the south of the country, where Brazil meets Argentina, nature found its most thunderous voice, the Iguaçu Falls. More than 270 waterfalls plunge with overwhelming force, creating clouds of mist that rise like dancing veils. The sound is absolute, filling every corner of the air with a roar that seems to come from the very entrails of the earth. Standing before the falls is to feel the scale of the world being redefined. The rainbow that forms within the mist is not a mere aesthetic detail, but a symbol of the eternal alliance between water, light, and wind. Trails wind through the forest to walkways that take the visitor so close to the drop that every droplet on the face becomes a memory. The Devil's Throat, the largest and most impressive of the falls, is a spectacle that seems to swallow the horizon. The force of the water there is not only seen, it is felt in the chest. Like a drum. Around it, Iguaçu National Park preserves the Atlantic forest, home to rare birds such as toucans and harpy eagles. And discreet mammals such as the jaguar. It is impossible to leave without the sensation of having witnessed a sacred rite. The falls are not just a landscape, but a baptism of grandeur, as if the earth itself wished to remind humanity of its own smallness before the infinite. Lençóis Maranhenses. There are landscapes that seem born not of geology, but of imagination. The Lençóis Maranhenses are one of those miracles. Stretching across northern Brazil, in the state of Maranhão, they form a desert that, paradoxically, shelters crystalline lagoons. It is a territory where contradiction becomes beauty, where sand and water dance in harmony, creating a spectacle that challenges even the most seasoned travelers. As you approach, the gaze is lost in a white sea rising in undulating dunes. These are hills of sand that shift with the breath of the wind, redrawing the horizon daily. From above, the scene resembles a vast wrinkled sheet, hence a name that could not be more fitting. Yet the surprise lies between the golden curves. Lagoons of blue and green so unreal, they seem painted, formed by rainwater collecting in the valleys between the dunes during the wet season. Each lagoon is its own universe. Some are small, intimate, almost secret. Others stretch for hundreds of meters, reflecting the sky like liquid mirrors. The water is transparent, fresh, inviting a plunge. To enter one of these lagoons is to cross a portal. The body dissolves into the perfect temperature, and for a few moments, nothing exists but the fusion of sand, water, and silence. Silence, in fact, is one of the hallmarks of the Lençóis. There is no urban noise, no engines or horns, only the sound of the wind sliding over the dunes and the occasional call of a migratory bird flying overhead. This stillness awakens a rare sensation, that of being in an untouched space, where nature manifests itself in almost absolute purity. Local communities, such as the village of Athens, live in harmony with this unique ecosystem. Fishermen cast their nets into the nearby sea, while guides lead travelers along trails that reveal secrets hidden among the dunes. Maranhão's hospitality adds human warmth to the natural setting, transforming the visit into a complete experience. Not only the wonder before the landscape, but also the encounter with a culture that has learned to live with the seasons and respect the cycles of the earth. In the dry season, when many lagoons evaporate, the desert reclaims its dominion. Even so, the spectacle does not lose its force. The bare dunes, sculpted by the wind, create patterns that resemble minimalist works of art. Each shadow, each curve, is a drawing in motion. The landscape changes constantly, reminding us that nothing there is static. Everything is flux. The Lençóis Maranhenses are also testimony to the power of Brazilian nature to produce contrasts. It is not common to find a desert where rain falls heavily. It is not common to see an arid space that at the same time is fertile with water. That duality is what makes the place magical. It exists outside the rules, as if it were an exception written by the hands of the unexpected. To be there is to experience a kind of trance. The traveler walks across the dunes, dives into the lagoons, rests their gaze on the infinite horizon, and discovers that time seems to slow down. Each step is soft, each breath deep. The Lençóis are not just landscape, they are a state of mind. A state in which the simplicity of sand and water becomes living poetry, capable of redefining the relationship between the human and the space around them. Leaving the park, one cannot help but carry the feeling of having lived inside a dream. The Lençóis Maranhenses do not belong only to Maranhão or to Brazil. They belong to the imagination of the world, as a reminder that nature in certain places chooses to be an artist. Pantanal, the Pantanal, stretching across the states of Mato Grosso and Mato Grosso do Sul, is the largest floodplain on the planet. An immensity that reinvents itself with every season. During the floods, it transforms into an archipelago. Green islands emerge amid a sea of calm waters, reflecting the sky like an endless mirror. Flocks of herons take flight in perfect synchrony, like white clouds in motion, while blue macaws cross the horizon with the gleam of their shimmering wings. In the dry season, the landscape changes. The waters recede and reveal golden fields, where capybaras rest in large groups, anteaters wander across the plains, and jaguars stalk their prey along the riverbanks. The Pantanal is a constant spectacle. There is no monotony, only cycles unfolding like chapters in a living book. The richness of the fauna is so exuberant that the destination has become a global reference for wildlife observation. It is one of the few places where the chance of spotting a jaguar in the wild is real, but there is much more. Caimans line the banks like motionless sentinels. Maned wolves walk in solitude, and herds of marsh deer leap through the pastures. Human life also integrates into the landscape. Ranchers, fishermen, and riverside communities live with the floods and droughts as part of a natural calendar. Pantanero culture, marked by viola music, cattle drives, and knowledge passed down through generations, is testimony to a relationship of respect with the land. To be in the Pantanal is to witness abundance in its purest form. It is to understand that life is organized in delicate balance, where each species plays a fundamental role. More than a destination, the Pantanal is a lesson that the world is woven by cycles, and recognizing these rhythms is the first step toward preserving them. Chapada Diamantina. In the heart of Bahia, Chapada Diamantina opens like a sanctuary carved by time. Mountains, valleys, rivers, and caves compose a landscape that seems to gather all elements of nature in perfect harmony. There, every trail is an invitation to discovery, every viewpoint an altar devoted to the grandeur of the earth. The waterfalls are the jewels of this land. Cachoeira da Fumaça, one of the highest in Brazil, plunges nearly 400 meters in free fall, dissolving into mist before touching the ground. Cachoeira do Buracão reveals its beauty in a narrow canyon, where waters squeeze between rocky walls before bursting into spectacle. At every fall, the sound of water echoes like ancestral music, resonating in the stones. The valleys and caves of Chapada hold ancient secrets. The Vale du Pati, considered one of the most beautiful treks in the world, leads travelers through green fields, isolated villages, and landscapes that alternate between simplicity and grandeur. In caves such as Gruta de Lapa Doce and the Pozo Encantado, light penetrates in an almost supernatural way, painting the interiors in deep blues and revealing waters so transparent they seem not to exist. Beyond its scenic beauty, Chapada Diamantina carries a human history marked by the search for diamonds, which gave the region its name. Today, mining has given way to conscious tourism, and the former dig sites coexist with inns, guides, and communities that have learned to value what nature offers most preciously: its own integrity. To be in Chapada is to feel time dilate. The body moves to the rhythm of the trails. The gaze rests on horizons that seem endless. The breath finds cadence in the silence of the mountains. It is more than a journey. It is a rite of connection with the essence of the earth. Fernando de Noronha. In the Atlantic, about 350 kilometers off Brazil's northeastern coast, rises Fernando de Noronha, an archipelago that seems to have been designed to reveal paradise. Its volcanic islands hold beaches ranked among the most beautiful in the world, with waters in shades of blue and green so intense they appear unreal. It is a territory where nature preserves its purity and where every moment invites awe. Baía do Sancho, consistently voted one of the best beaches on the planet, is a postcard that impresses even the most demanding travelers. Surrounded by cliffs covered in vegetation, its pale sand meets a sea of crystalline transparency. The descent there, via stairways carved into the rock, is preparation for the experience. A dive not only into the ocean, but into a feeling of discovery. Another spectacle unfolds at Dolphins Bay, where groups of dolphins leap and glide through the waves at sunrise. It is as if the sea had its own choreography, celebrating life in its freest form. Meanwhile, diving in areas such as the marine park reveals sea turtles, colorful fish, and reefs forming an underwater world of unmatched beauty. But Noronha is not only a natural stage, it is an example of preservation. Controlled visitor access, vehicle limits, and strict conservation rules remind us that the greatness of the place lies precisely in its fragility. Being there is to learn that paradise is not a given, but a treasure that requires care and respect. At the end of the journey, the visitor discovers that Fernando de Noronha is not just a beach destination. It is an encounter with the essence of marine life, and with the certainty that when preserved, nature reveals its most generous face. Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro is the very synthesis of the meeting between nature and city. Few places in the world manage to bring together, in a single setting, mountains that touch the sky, golden sandy beaches, tropical forests, and a vibrant metropolis. It is as if geography had chosen to display here its boldest composition. From the top of Corcovado, Christ the Redeemer opens his arms over the bay, in a gesture that is both welcome and protection. Sugarloaf Mountain, with its iconic shape, rises from the water like a stone sentinel. Between the two, Guanabara Bay traces curves that reflect the sun's glow and the ceaseless movement of boats. The beaches are the stage of Carioca life. Copacabana, with its black and white wave-patterned promenade, is a setting for encounters and celebrations. Ipanema, with its legendary sunset, turns each evening into a collective spectacle. And further afield, beaches like Prainha and Grumari reveal a wilder Rio, where the forest meets the sea in almost untouched harmony. The Tijuca National Park, the largest replanted urban forest in the world, shelters waterfalls, trails, and viewpoints that remind us that Rio is also a land of green. There, the silence of the paths contrasts with the city's pulse, showing that Rio de Janeiro is made of dualities that coexist in a balance as unstable as it is fascinating. More than a tourist destination, Rio is a state of mind. It is music echoing through the streets, human warmth expressed in smiles, and beauty that insists on surprising even those who already know it. To be in Rio is to feel that life can indeed be celebrated as an eternal summer. Mouth of the São Francisco. At the border between Alagoas and Sergipe, the São Francisco River meets the sea in a spectacle of contrasts. After traveling more than 2,800 kilometers from Minas Gerais, it reaches its mouth like a giant that, before surrendering to the ocean, spreads into wide arms, golden dunes, and mangroves that form one of Brazil's most unique landscapes. There, the meeting of fresh and salt waters creates a fertile universe. Boats glide through winding channels, revealing scenes that alternate between tranquility and grandeur. The wind gently brushes the dunes, drawing curves that seem to shift at every moment, while herons and scarlet ibises paint the horizon with their graceful flights. The mouth is also a space of human life. Fishermen cast their nets in search of sustenance, while riverside communities preserve traditions that echo centuries of coexistence with the river. The relationship of respect and dependence is visible in every gesture. The San Francisco is not just a resource, but part of the cultural identity that shapes the region. To be at the mouth is to witness both an ending and a beginning. It is to see the river, after crossing hinterlands and cities, finally rest in the embrace of the Atlantic. It is to understand that every journey carries within it the beauty of arrival, and that every outflow is also a rebirth. São Paulo. São Paulo, the largest metropolis in South America, is a mosaic of cultures, voices, and rhythms. A city that never sleeps, pulsing with continuous intensity and revealing a new facet at every corner. Its skyscrapers rise as symbols of modernity, but among them also flourish parks, museums, and traditions that make the Paulista capital a multifaceted portrait of contemporary Brazil. On Avenida Paulista, the financial and cultural heart, movement never ceases. Between mirrored buildings, cultural centers like MASP and urban gathering spaces show how business, art, and diversity converge there. Meanwhile, Ibirapuera Park is the green breathing space that balances the concrete, with lakes, trails, and museums integrated into a landscape designed for encounters. São Paulo is also a gastronomic capital. Award-winning restaurants coexist with popular eateries, street fairs, and cuisines from all over the world, reflecting the influence of the many immigrant communities that have shaped the city's identity. From the Liberdade neighborhood, with its Japanese soul, to Bixiga, with Italian traditions, every corner preserves a story brought from afar. Cultural life is as intense as urban life. Theaters, concert halls, and an international festival agenda place São Paulo on the global arts map. But it is also in the graffiti on the walls, in the street carnival blocos, and in the improvisation of musicians in the squares that the city reveals its most spontaneous creativity. To be in São Paulo is to experience the sensation that the entire world fits into one city. It is to live the vertigo of its speed, but also to discover the beauty hidden in details. It is to understand that even in concrete, life always finds a way to bloom. Jericoacoara, on the coast of Ceará. Hidden between dunes and sea lies Jericoacoara, or simply Jerry to those who know it well. Once an isolated fishing village, today it is one of Brazil's most sought-after destinations, yet it has never lost the rustic charm that makes it unique. Its sandy, unpaved streets seem to remind visitors that time flows differently there. The sunset in Jeri is a daily spectacle. From the top of Sunset Dune, travelers gather to watch the sun sink into the horizon, painting the sky and sea in shades of gold, pink, and violet. It is one of those moments when collective silence speaks louder than words. The beaches are constant invitations. Jericoacoara Beach, with its calm, warm waters, offers relaxing swims. Paradise Lagoon and Blue Lagoon surprise with crystalline waters and hammocks set directly in the water, where time seems simply suspended. For adventurers, sports such as kite surfing and windsurfing find perfect wins there. Despite its international fame, Jericoacoara maintains an intimate atmosphere. Small inns, restaurants serving local cuisine, and the hospitality of its residents make the destination more than a postcard. They turn it into an experience of belonging. To be in Jeri is to discover that simplicity and beauty can walk hand in hand. It is to realize that some places need no adornments to be unforgettable. Only the encounter of nature with a gaze open to wonder. At the end of this journey, Brazil reveals itself not only as a territory, but as a sensory and emotional experience. From forests that breathe like the lungs of the planet, to beaches that seem drawn from dreams, every landscape visited carries within it a lesson that beauty is multiple, diverse, and untamed. These wonders are not merely tourist destinations, but living chapters of Brazilian identity. They are spaces where nature dictates its rhythm, and where human beings learn, if only for moments, to recognize themselves as part of a greater whole. Traveling through this Brazil of many faces is to understand that grandeur is not measured solely by size, but by its ability to transform those who behold it. Upon leaving each of these places, the traveler does not truly say goodbye. They carry within themselves the reflection of colors, sounds, and silences that will continue to echo far beyond the journey.